Hey guys, Trust This Robot here, and I have news for you about AI for September 28th to October 4th. So, this first one that I have for you here, the gentleman posted it on September 24th, so I'm a little late to the game. I just found it this week though, so I wanted to share it with you because I thought it was kind of fun.
Oh my phone! Oh my god! Hello, friend! Oh my god! I love you! Jesus Christ! I love you so much! Oh my god.
Okay, so what I think is fun and interesting about this and scary is one, it sounds like the people that are recording it sound pretty young, and it's interesting to note their reception. They're very excited to see Spot roaming around, and they're also endearing to Spot as though Spot is a human by saying things like, "Oh my God, I love you." That's very much how you would respond to a human, not a robot. So I thought that was really interesting and wanted to share it. I also thought it was interesting that Boston Dynamics is kind of roaming around Canada with Spot, just roaming around, taking the robot for a walk. So yeah, thought we'd start this week with that one because it's kind of fun. This has been pretty big news this week. This company had their IPO. And I think a lot of people that know of this company have been feeling like this may be the next FANG stock. I think it's sitting at around $10 now, and people are like, oh, it can go hundreds and thousands, and I'm going to hold it for a while. And I have a lot of thoughts surrounding this. I feel like there are two types of people in the population. You have 50% of the population that's pretty complacent about data collection, and their feeling is, the government and companies, they already have all my data, so I don't care, I'll just give them more. And then you have the other 50% of the population that's very private and doesn't like what's happening and has VPNs and all that stuff. So I feel like anyone who understands what this company does is going to be of one of those two sectors. So you're already removing 50% of the people from investing in this company for moral reasons. So it leaves you with 50% of the population. Then probably only 20% of the population even know who the company is. And then of that percentage, they have to decide whether they will or will not invest. So that's one thought. And then the other thought that I've been having is, there are two different ways that I feel like these FANG companies have been handling data. You have the Googles and YouTubes who pay their content creators for putting content on their services through AdSense. So Google basically goes to their creators and is like, hey, if you put content on our service, we will compensate you for it. So it's a very give and take, a very symbiotic relationship. Then you have a company like Facebook, and if you have a business page on Facebook and you post content, Facebook will ask you to pay them to boost your content. So they're basically like, we're going to ask you to post content, then we're going to ask you to pay us to get traction for that content, and we're going to take all of your data and we're going to sell it. So my thought with this company is, right now they're currently collecting data and primarily giving it to the CIA. That is their business model, and they're starting to branch out to other corporate entities. If, however, they were to take their company and their software that they've developed, which acquires basically everyone's personal data and makes it to where it's easily searchable, if they were to basically go to the public and say, we are going to compensate you for your data and then sell it to these companies, I think it would be a FANG stock, because I think people would invest in that. I think people would say, okay, I need a little extra money, and if you're willing to pay me for it, that's a fair exchange. I think in that case, they could become really big. But I think if they just continue to basically say, we're going to acquire everyone's data and sell it to corporations and the government, I don't see people getting excited about that and investing. I just don't. So I think that this one is short-lived unless they do that other model that I talked about. Not investment advice, just my thoughts. So the co-owner of this company was previously a co-owner with this company. And this article came out and it kind of made me laugh because they're like, oh, the US military wants to use their satellites. Well, I mean, I've kind of been assuming that they already have been. If you go to like a place like Investopedia, you can see that SpaceX has been getting billions of dollars in government funding for years now. And, they also are partnering up with NASA, sending NASA astronauts, which are government employees, to the space station. They're launching off of NASA's launch pads. So obviously they're working together. This article that's like, well, I don't understand what's happening to me, I think is weird, or I just don't get it because I assumed that they were. But for anyone who doesn't really know what SpaceX is doing with their satellites, they are launching hundreds and thousands of satellites to orbit around the Earth, so that their cars, who are run by AI, and so that Neuralink, once it's up and running, has seamless internet no matter where you go. So if you get an airplane and you fly to Africa or New Zealand or Australia, and you have a Neuralink in your brain, you're not going to all of a sudden have it stop working. Or if you're driving in a car and you drive from the US to Canada or vice versa, you're not going to all of a sudden have your car stop on you. So you need to have seamless internet no matter where you go in order for these products to function. So that's a little overview, which I'm sure if you're watching this channel, you probably already know that. But if not, that's a little background. So the National Guard has been doing fire mapping with drones, and I keep kind of posting stuff about this because I live in California. So, I guess I'm interested in it. So they are having drones fly over all of the damaged areas from the fires, so that they can basically, kind of map out what's happening and see, like, is it much worse than years before? Acquire all of that data, maybe even figure out, are the fires happening in certain areas and not other areas, and could there potentially be reasons for it, etc. Here's some pictures of their mapping. And I'll put this article below if you want to read more about it. Since we are in election, the last month before the election, I thought this one was kind of fun and a good reminder. A company called Represent Us created 2 deep fakes as a reminder to people that, when you're watching these videos, do your research. Don't believe everything you're seeing, reading, or hearing. Here's a good one.
Democracy is a fragile thing, more fragile than you want to believe. If the election fails, there is no democracy. I don't have to do anything. You're doing it to yourselves. People are divided. Your voting districts are manipulated. Voting locations are closing so millions can't vote. It's not hard for democracy to collapse. All you have to do is nothing.
That was a good one. I think the accents are pretty good. So here, this one's good. I feel like around his head, you can kind of tell when he moves around that it's a little cut and paste in there. But I still think the accents are just so dead on.
America, you blame me for interfering with your democracy, but I don't have to. You are doing it to yourselves. Polling stations are closing. You don't know who to trust. You are divided. There are strings we can pull, but we don't have to. You are pulling them for us.
All right, moving on to this one. So this company called Siren created some smart socks to help people with diabetes to detect inflammation in their feet and legs. I like this one because I have a lot of family members who have diabetes, and I understand how tragic and difficult the disease can be to manage. So I think this is very beneficial. I think it's been great for a lot of people. I like this one a lot. It says that they got $9 million in a round of funding. They're saying that this industry is $1.5 billion. So yeah, I thought I'd share this one with you guys because I thought it was a nice one. Last week, we talked about whether algorithms and AI have ownership, copyright over their inventions. And it looks like in the UK, just a week after we talked about it, they have ruled that no, they do not. So a gentleman named Stephen Thaler, who has been going to court with this argument for a number of years. He's the creator of Creativity Machine. He is arguing that his AIs do have ownership and copyright to their inventions because they do not have a predetermined objective. So I'll just read this for you here. Beginning as a swarm of many artificial neural nets, each containing interrelated patterns spanning some conceptual space, system uses simple, mathematically expressed learning rules to combine them with no predetermined objective. So he's ultimately saying that if the AI is creating the outcome, it should have ownership over it. So UK says no, nope, not the case. So that's all I have for you guys this week. We are now in October, and as October is always full of surprises, so I'm sure we'll have some good stuff all month long, and I'm sure it will all start this week. So I'm looking forward to it, and I will talk with you soon.